Let's dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line, he is a comedian. He has ties to a very funny man called Sebastian Maniscalco. It is Pat McGann. Hey, Pat, how you doing?
Good, B-sox. Good to be with you. Appreciate it, bud.
Let me ask you something real quick. How many attempts did it take you to say Sebastian's name correctly?
I was kind of on it. I knew some Maniscalcos from the Chicago area that were big basketball players. I'm really into hoops. I get that it's difficult, and I see it, and I've heard it. I've been doing some calls today, and a lot of people are struggling with that name. So you nailed it. You should be proud of yourself. I remember when he was just going by Sebastian for a while.
Oh, really?
There was a minute when he was just going, yeah, I think so. But, Sebastian Maniscalco, that's how you say it. And it is been a great ride for me. He's been really good to me. And to see him go from the clubs where I met him, he was like selling out Zany's Comedy Club in Chicago. That's where I met him. I was a house MC there. Started working the road with him into small theaters and then bigger theaters and now arenas. It's been very cool to see his career take off like that.
The name thing is always scary to me as somebody that's doing an interview. Like before we started talking, I was asking you how to pronounce yours. When I had to pronounce his, it was, oh God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. But anyways, Pat, tell me about yourself. What's the world of Pat McGann like?
Well, I am, I grew up in Chicago. I still live out here. I'm a South Sider, and I've been doing stand-up 2008, 2009.
Okay.
I started a little late. I was like 31. I was in sales for a while, and then I started hitting like open mics, worked my way into being a house MC at Zany's. That's where I met Sebastian, as I mentioned, and just saw a lot of comedy. Like, that's the A Room. That's one of the best comedy clubs in the country. It's up there with like the Comedy Cellar and the Comedy Store. It was a big part of my career, and I started doing a ton of shows here in town. And I never really left Chicago, and I worked the road a little bit, mostly Midwest. Like I used to come out to, I still do the Funny Bone in Des Moines when I'm solo. Like when I'm doing my own thing, I think people have probably seen me out there, and I opened for him there at Hoyt Sherman, and
you know the names and everything.
Oh yeah, I know. I remember these places. Well, some of them stick with you. I mean, the Hoyt Sherman place is a little different. That's it's like a mansion and then like a showroom, right? It's like a theater that's like connected to a historic mansion or something.
Did you have the bats when
not
you were
all
there?
Like that. No, what's that?
Apparently, there's bats that live in Hoyt Sherman. Every once in a while, they come out during performances and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When the comic's struggling?
That or
maybe that's a sign I did well. This guy sucks. Release the bats.
Pat McGann on the line with me right now, talking about his world of comedy. Go back to when you first started. It's always interesting to me to hear this part of the story. But at what point did you go, you know what? I want to do this. I think I could do this. What was that for you?
It was just some kind of pull in me. Like I loved writing and putting things in a notebook, and I always loved stand-up. I watched it a ton growing up, and loved comedy, loved making people laugh. And I don't know what it was that I just kind of compelled me to go to the open mics and try it, because I was a little scared of getting on stage. I was never like a performer. I played sports growing up, and I didn't really do drama or get into a school play, which in hindsight, I feel like that would be a cool layer. And you don't see that overlapping enough. Kids doing sports, but then also like doing some stuff in the arts. It really is a great experience to do things on stage, and it translates, just kind of builds confidence. And I think talking to people in public situation is good. But anyway, that's what I had to overcome.
Real quick, do you remember the first joke you had that you thought, you know what, this could be on stage?
Oh man, well the first stuff I was writing was like real removed. I had like a lot of jokes about like stuff that I didn't really have a lot to do with. I had a big bit on Taco Bell. That was I had like 4-minute Taco Bell bit. Like that's all this. Yeah, it's Supreme, just like with sour cream.
Yeah.
That's all. They got that caulk gun, the sour cream in the back, and just like Taco Supreme. Like that's all.
Oh, do you look back at any of that stuff and think, man, what was I thinking? Or man, there's no way this should have worked?
You definitely cringe, but you also realize like you have to do that to get to the next place. Or at least I did. I didn't really know and what I was writing about, and what I didn't know what to talk about. And then I realized, like, talking about your own life and being personal and getting into more like experiences that, you know, like now I got kids. I got one playing hockey, which is, you know, kid sports is brutal now. But this kid's 9 years old and he had a tryout. Like, what? You know what the tryout was? Can you come up with $2,500? That was a tryout.
I believe I've got a 9-year-old as well, and we deal with that as sports. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but I don't think I have to worry about my kid being the quarterback of the team. So sport, he likes piano, so that's been really easy.
And he can do that his whole life, you know.
Pat McGann on the line with me right now. More about Pat at patmcganncomedy.com. You are going to be doing the tour with Sebastian. What else you got going on? Like, what's next for Pat?
Well, you know, when I'm not with Sebastian, I'm touring on my own. So I got a pretty good slate going into 2025, where I'm just doing a little bit smaller theaters.
Okay.
You know, anywhere from like, you know, 400 seats to 1,000 seats. And, you know, some markets I'm doing stronger than others. And I've been through there a lot. I'd like to get a podcast going again. I had a podcast for a while, and I get it. Like, everyone's got a podcast, but it's just, you know, more for content. Like, you really need to pump content out and get online to connect with people and build a little bit of a following to get people to the shows. I mean, that's really, some of it's unfortunate because, like, I never got into this to do all the, you know, oversharing and, you know, the social media part of it. You used to just go do shows, and, you know, you would never post material back then. You would be like, you would protect that. You only want people to see it, you know.
You want to pay for the ticket.
The game's changing a little bit, and but it's fun. I like right now just getting new material out and doing the live shows. I mean, that's really my focus right now, to continue touring and to grow the touring, you know, keep getting people to come out to shows.
I understand. Pat McGann on the line with me right now. I know you got to run. I know you got another one of these. I'm not going to be like the last guy that wouldn't shut up, but patmcganncomedy.com. I appreciate the time so much. And hey, man, when you do come back to Des Moines, let us know. We'd love to hear about it. Okay.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah. I'd love to meet you. Thank you for having me.